This program provides education, not advice. Sponsors pay a fee for endorsements and interviews. See the truthayf.com disclosure page for details.
This is where technology, innovation, and personal finance come together.
This is the truth about your future with Rick Edelman.
Electricity, a big idea that's inspired countless new ones. From powering the light bulb to virtually powering our entire lives. 30 years ago, State Street launched the Spider S&P 500 ETF, SPY. A big idea that inspired the world to invest differently, and still does. What can you do with SPY?
Before investing, consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Visit ssga.com for a prospectus containing this and other information. Read it carefully before investing. SPY is subject to risks similar to those of stocks. All ETFs are subject to risk, including possible loss of principal. Alps Distributors, Inc. Distributor.
It's Thursday, July 11th.
And Joe Biden is still running for president.
On today's show, is crypto money laundering a thing? You've heard the claims from Elizabeth Warren, Jamie Dimon, and others that the only thing crypto is good for is money laundering. Frankly, there's no one, absolutely no one, who seriously examines the crypto industry that says this. It's a $2.5 trillion global marketplace, and to believe that the only thing it does is help people hide illicit profits, finance terrorists, pay for sex trafficking, and avoid taxes, it's just plain silly. But it makes for a great soundbite to help somebody score a political point. And that's too bad, because although there are a lot of people who own Bitcoin, as many as a third of all U.S. households, a whole lot more people don't own Bitcoin or Ethereum, but are curious about it. If you're wondering if you should invest, and as you're trying to figure this out, you certainly don't want to own something if the only thing it's good for is helping crooks be crooks. So let me give you the actual numbers. Yeah, we have actual numbers, because one of the best things about crypto is that every transaction is recorded on a public ledger, a ledger that anybody with an internet connection can go see. Every transaction is there throughout history. Every transaction is permanent. They can't be altered, copied, or erased. And so this makes it easy to see what has happened and what is happening. And there are a lot of companies that analyze this data. Coinmetrics, they're the folks that give moment-by-moment prices to CNBC and a lot of others. Chainalysis and other crypto market surveyors. Chainalysis just released their latest report. They focused on digital assets that were sent to intermediary services and wallets, as well as fiat off-ramping services, all of this in 2023. They discovered that illicit money laundering addresses that can convert crypto to cash received $22.2 billion worth of crypto last year. $22.2 billion. That's a big number, and I have no intention of minimizing or trivializing this number. But let's put it into context. First, $22.2 billion of money laundering transactions. That's out of a total transaction volume of crypto of $36.6 trillion. In other words, money laundering represents 0.06% of all crypto trades. Still, $22.2 billion is a lot of money. That's why Elizabeth Warren wants to ban Bitcoin. Her thesis seems to be that if we ban Bitcoin, we'll eliminate money laundering. Well, didn't money laundering exist prior to Bitcoin? Her logic just doesn't make any sense. And if Bitcoin doesn't exist, is Elizabeth Warren saying that money laundering will end? That doesn't make any sense either. Consider this. According to the United Nations, somewhere between 1.6 trillion and 4 trillion of the total global GDP is used for money laundering. We're talking 2 to 4% of global GDP. What did I say the percent was for crypto? Not 2 to 4%. 0.06%. So if Elizabeth Warren wants to eliminate crypto as a way to fight money laundering, she first ought to fight to eliminate cash, because crooks are passing around $100 bills, not MasterCards. And here's one final statistic from Chainalysis. That $22.2 billion figure, that's 30% less than the prior year. In other words, criminals are discovering that crypto is really not a great way to move illicit cash, and they're doing it less and less. In fact, this was specifically noted a couple of months ago by the U.S. Treasury's Undersecretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence. He's Brian Nelson, and he confirmed that terrorist groups like Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad are using crypto in far smaller amounts compared to what the media is reporting. He testified at a hearing before the House Financial Services Committee, and he said that terrorist groups prefer what he called traditional products and services. In other words, cash. That's because cash is really hard to trace. But crypto is digital money, and digital money leaves a digital footprint. It's easy for law enforcement to track crypto and then grab it. Last year, in fact, Hamas announced that it would stop receiving contributions of Bitcoin. That was after the U.S. seized $2 million of crypto from them. I'm not citing all this to say you ought to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. This isn't financial advice. I'm just saying that if you've been reluctant to buy crypto because of concerns about money laundering, you need to find another excuse for not investing in this asset class. Coming up next on The Truth About Your Future, a question that you've asked me. Stay tuned.
Support for The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman is made possible by Invesco QQQ. A quarter of a century ago, Invesco QQQ reimagined how people invest by providing access to the most innovative companies on the NASDAQ 100, all in one ETF. With Invesco QQQ, investors saw all the possibilities that innovation could deliver. So what's on the horizon for the next 25 years? See for yourself. Tap into the companies remaking the future. Invesco QQQ. Let's rethink possibility. There are risks when investing in ETFs, including possible loss of money. ETF risks are similar to those of stocks. Investments in the tech sector are subject to greater risk and more volatility than more diversified investments. The NASDAQ 100 Index comprises the 100 largest non-financial companies on the NASDAQ. You can't invest directly into an index. Before investing, consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Visit Invesco.com for prospectus containing this information. Read it carefully before investing. Invesco Distributors, Inc.
I got a question from John from Massachusetts. Here's what he wrote.
Regarding the boomers retiring with insufficient savings over the next few years, what about the effect of immigration? 2.7 million legal immigrants per year. Those folks will get jobs and pay taxes. Doesn't this offset our problem of not making enough babies?
That's a good theory, John, but unfortunately, no, it doesn't work for a couple of reasons. Number one, we aren't generating enough immigrants into the country to offset the lack of babies. Second, we are in competition for those immigrants with every other country that is equally suffering from insufficient baby production. And that's true of just about every country in the world. So we are all competing for those very same immigrants, and the countries where the immigrants are coming from are themselves not producing enough babies. The reason those people are immigrating is because they see better economic opportunity as well as release of political or religious persecution or violence or all the other things that causes people to go from their homeland to an adopted home. And so, yeah, it's a good idea. It can certainly help the situation, but it isn't enough to actually solve the problem. And in the future, as more and more countries face the reality of their birth dearth, they are going to be competing very heavily for these immigrants. And so, no, I don't believe it is a solution to our problem. It's something that can help, but no, it isn't a solution. You can send me your question as well. Just send it to askrick@thetruthayf.com. The link is in the show notes. Hey, financial advisors, are you fluent in crypto, blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, stablecoins, tokenization, and most importantly, crypto taxation, estate planning, and asset allocation? Take the online course, become certified in blockchain and digital assets. Thousands of financial professionals from 37 countries have enrolled. Become fluent in crypto so you can help your clients and build your practice. Enroll today and get your CBDA designation. On tomorrow's show, when it comes to crypto, it's Trump versus Biden. Plus, an interview with 3 experts. Vib Ara, the COO of Shufra Rose, Ron Bullis, the CEO of LifeWorks Advisors, and Dr. Sindhu Joseph, the founder and CEO of Cognicore.
How do advances in science, technology, and medicine translate into investment opportunity? Listen and learn.
This is The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman.